Alright, what is going on YouTube? Welcome to another Hidden Cup 4 qualifier series from the second round of 32s. This is Barles versus Bad Koala. And I only have 2 sets left, including this one from the round of 32s. If I finish with these, which will happen today, I will be done with all of the qualifiers that has been played up to this date. Every single game, every single round from the round of 64s and the round of 32s. And it is going to be on the 5th of March, so tomorrow, where the round of 16 starts. I'll be casting that live on Twitch, so in case you want to visit me there, you can actually do that. And of course, once I'm done streaming, I will upload those to YouTube as well. Anyways, before that, we have a series over here. Barles, who defeated Ra in the previous round rather easily, a very good 1v1 player, long-time Black Forest player from Poland, versus Bad Koala, who sort of pulled an upset against him in the previous round, so we'll see what he can do against Barles. Bad Koala is more like a team game player, but he has been competing in 1v1 events recently as well, most notably Red Bull is where he tried qualifying multiple times, but he never was successful in that. The advantage should heavily be on the side of Barles, as the home maps of his are going to be Slopes and Gold Rush. Bad Koala will be playing with Bay and Hideout, and we will have Celts and Britons as global bans. Barles loses Chinese to the opponent's night. That was his first civilization pick. Same for Bad Koala, who loses Aztecs. And the available civilizations for Koala will be Khmer, Ethiopians, Malay, Berbers, Franks, and Spanish. Barles will have Mongols, Mayans, Lithuanians, Tatars, Cumans, and Huns, as we will jump into game number 1 over here. So, welcome to Arabia. Bad Koala is going to be playing Franks in blue on the north. In the south, we're going to have Barles playing as red in Mayans, and we'll see if Barles once again goes for the pre-milled rush, because one thing that I've seen from Barles over these months or so is that he's one of the players that loves the pre-milled rush build order. An interesting fact about Barles is that I don't think that he ever played in a Hidden Cup. However, last year, after Hidden Cup 3, we had a tournament that was called Visible Cup for every player that wasn't able to qualify or play in the main event of Hidden Cup 3, and it was completely Hidden Cup settings, and Barles was a finalist there. He lost 4-0 to Winchester, but he still had some very good series, and that basically meant that after Hidden Cup 4, or Hidden Cup 3, so to say, as he's denying a bit of a deer push over here. So after Hidden Cup 3, as there is that pre-milled rush I was talking about. So after Hidden Cup 3, he was basically one of the best players, other players that didn't qualify for the main event, if you just talk about Hidden Cup settings. Obviously, you could argue that on other maps, other players could be ahead of him, but with Hidden Cup settings, he was among the better players that weren't there in the main event. So, it seems like we have 2 piggies stolen away from Bad Koala. Bad Koala also lost his scout, which actually hurts really badly when you're talking about the scouts build order. And what is that? Is that a Man-at-Arms build? It kind of seems like it. Bad Koala apparently tries to be sneaky and surprising, tries to place with the Man-at-Arms. In the meanwhile, we will have Barles losing a lot of HP on that militia as he gets intercepted by a bear. But the thing is that Barles' map is actually really bad here. So you can see what I told you about the pre-milled rush. He loves it. I don't know why. Nowadays, pre-milled rushes are pretty common, but he was using them before as well. In fact, in Invisible Cup, he actually was able to get a lot of success from that build order, because that was a little bit less frequently used back in the days. So Bad Koala is going for Man-at-Arms here. The thing is that Barles' map isn't really good for a pre-milled rush here. Even if it's just a rush into archers. This gold mine is dangerously open. He has a very bad map overall. Super open on the left side, right side is also quite open. This is a typical Man-at-Arms type of a map for him over here. We'll see if he goes for a Drush Archers or Drush FC, but from what I'm seeing, this is either a late Drush Archers, or he's gonna gamble on Drush FC. Now, needless to say is the fact that a Drush FC here would be overly ballsy. But it seems like he's going for it. This is Villager 27 coming in, even though he is Mayan, so that would be 26 Villagers timing. He's also housed for a moment, knocking down that lumber camp, and I feel like if you're Bad Koala right now, you could punish Barles very easily for this Drush FC. Because you could just tower this gold mine and goodbye, so to say. Like, this is a so awful base for Barles, and I feel like it's way too greedy to go for a Drush FC here. Even a Drush Archers wouldn't be something I would love, let alone a Drush Past Castle with such an open gold on the front, very little wood at the back, no safe stone to counter tower. The berries are nice, I guess, but I mean, even a single tower here would deny half of the farming eco. And that Koala could easily punish this Drush FC here if he is willing to, because it kind of seems like he isn't willing to punish this one. And in that case, Barles is going to get away with this one, which I think would be a disaster for Bad Koala. Keep in mind that Bad Koala doesn't really have a lot of scouting information. Losing that scout now hurts even more so, because even if he knows that, hey, my opponent is playing a Drush FC, he doesn't really know where to place the towers. He doesn't know where the berries are, he doesn't know where the gold mine is. And had he seen this gold mine, which is something that he's missing by a single tile, by the way, so he barely missed that, maybe he would have considered moving forward, but right now the best he can do is kill a couple of deer, but obviously that helps his case basically just a very, very tiny bit. He finally goes for Man at Arms. That's a very, very late Man at Arms play as well from him. Made up his mind on that quite late. And now it's gonna turn into a Man at Arms Archers with Franks. But, I mean, I like the element of surprise idea. But I feel like this game is already massively in the favor of Barles, because he's not getting punished for what is an extremely greedy and really, really bad decision type Drush FC. His food count is also going to be a little too low for that Drush FC, so even the eco balance wasn't there for Barles. I have to say that Barles' start here wasn't really clean. So, he's actually a very, very nice guy, by the way. That's a nice story about him. That I was the host of Visible Cup. I was working with on that with Robo. So Robo was adminning Hidden Cup free, and then pretty much the idea was at that time that they were considering sort of a silver league to Hidden Cup as well. Obviously not with hidden identities, as now the archers are coming forward. And have I mentioned how much this could be punished by Bad Koala? In fact, Barles is lucky that he's only getting punished like this right now, and he's gonna get the tower up, but this could have been a game over here for Barles. Had Bad Koala scout not die, and potentially scout the gold mine, scout the berries or so, this map is not even remotely close to a Drush FC type of a map for Barles. So, basically, there were plans to make a Silver League for Hidden Cup, and I was at that time considering also, wasn't related to Hidden Cup, I was thinking about a tournament for like the players that are not the top 16 but still high level, you know. And it turns out that we had the plans for the same time frame, and then we just teamed up with Robo for what became Visible Cup. And what I want to point out is that I was casting the Grand Finals of Visible Cup, and Barles lost to Winchester 4-0 in the finals in a best of 7. It was a very one-sided best of 7. Obviously, now seeing Winchester's performances, that wasn't really a surprise. Winchester just started to get into a very, very good shape at that time. But the story is that after this series, Barles messaged me and said, hey, I'm sorry, I played really bad today. And yeah, so he's a very, very nice guy. He's struggling with consistency. Sometimes he's very, very dominant. Sometimes he is lacking consistency. And apparently that day was a day like that. And it also starts a little bit sloppy for Barles over here. Because it's not about the execution. The execution was alright over here. He didn't lose a villager. The wars actually makes sense. What I do not like is the strategy choice. And especially against Franks that will be playing with scouts most likely. You could have done Man at Arms Archers. You open Man at Arms Archers, that means that your opponent will probably have to do Scout Skirm. And then you can potentially try going for triple Brax Eagles or Eagle Monk. Could be an idea, depending on what your opponent goes for. If your opponent is heavy on skirmishers, you'll probably try Eagle Monk. If your opponent goes for a more knight-focused approach, then you are probably thinking about just continuing with crossbows or potentially Pike Siege. So, yeah, the strategy choice here is not something that I love for Barles. That being said, he didn't really get punished for by Bad Koala for this one, as this is also a nice reroll over here, And we have to keep in mind that he managed to preserve his archer numbers quite nicely. The cheaper archers from Mayans help quite a lot in this case, because you can just get quite a lot of them out while you're going up to Castle Age. You see, the timing of this attack is actually pretty nice, so you kind of want to arrive to the opponent's base when you finish with the crossbow upgrade. Ideally with the Botkin upgrade as well, something that Barles hasn't picked up just yet. He's probably too busy fighting this one. He just needs one crossbow to pick off the men-at-arms though, to make sure that they don't get through the walls. It looks like Bad Koala will actually make a defensive tower on his wood and gold. Will be on double stables, trying to transition into knights here, as he's not that far away from Castle Age either. But that might already be a disaster for him, because the crossbows will be diving in and they can just run past the tower, hit this wood line, hit the back of the food eco. Indeed, the first Voyager casualty of the game will be on the side of Bad Koala, make it 2, and make it an awful lot of idle time. Now, here come the knights, and Bad Koala can afford enough knights to fight this one. The problem that he's facing is that he's very, very low on upgrades, because he was playing an archer build, so currently, as things stand, he doesn't even have +1 defense. Luckily for him, he doesn't have to go for bloodlines because he's Franks, so he's getting that for free. It looks like he's actually mining stone with 2 to make sure that he can add additional TCs. But quite a lot of his farming eco is being denied here. And eventually, what Bad Koala wants to do is probably jump on this one with +1 defense and use the archers as well as a supporting unit. He should be able to clean this one up. The problem that he's facing, I believe, is that his knights are still very, very under-upgraded. Nice move from him to save this low HP knight, and that was an overall very, very nice cleanup. We'll have Monastery coming in here for Barles, mixing in a couple of monks. Voyager count is actually much, much better for Barles. There was a 1 minute 10 seconds idle time for Bad Koala, which accounts for about 3 villagers. But you also have to keep in mind that Bad Koala lost 3 more, so that's why there's a 6-7 villagers lead in the favor of Barles. Second TC on the way for Bad Koala. We haven't talked about his map. His map was just as bad as Barles' map. The stone here is flat out awful. This gold isn't great. Like, your best bet would have been to void yourself all the way through here, but that takes quite a lot of time, so I understand why that didn't happen. There's going to be sort of a map control type siege workshop on this ridge, and this men-at-arms will actually alert Bad Koala that the army of Barles is here. Now, Bad Koala doesn't have +2 defense, and that's quite a lot of crossbows. So, as good as knights are with +1 defense to clear up a couple of crossbows, once you have like 10-15 crossbows, those knights will need the +2 defense upgrade, something that Bad Koala right now is unable to afford because his food eco is very, very low for a 2 TC double stable play, and indeed he's gonna have to cancel the workshop and replace it back at home. Monks are coming in as well. It looks like Barles will be playing 1 TC, dropping the second one just now on the front gold mine. He finds the stone mine, but there is no one home, as Bad Koala reacts pretty nicely to this aggression, jumps into the TC to avoid his villagers getting picked off, but still that's a lot of idle time for him. If you take a look at the villager idle time indicator, it's 25 minutes compared to 10 minutes, so really the vill idle time here is crazy. Well, not super crazy for Bad Koala, but it is definitely worse than the one for Barles, and that helps quite a lot over here for Barles. Stay ahead. And also, if you deny the food eco, you will actually stop these 2 TCs from making villagers, potentially even stop the knight production. The monk gets picked off without getting a single conversion, and the crossbows will now try to retreat for the hill. With the hill advantage, +2 attack against just +1 defense, nice. This might be a good fight for Barles. He's going to lose his crossbow numbers, but he actually kills quite a lot of knights in the process. Now the question, however, is that he's quite low on crossbows, so his individual groups of crossbows were intercepted, and it's always better to have one huge group of crossbows compared to like multiple smaller groups. It seems like for a moment he actually considered adding a second barracks for what could be a pikeman play, but then he changes his mind. Still, mixing a couple of spearmen could actually help out quite a bit here. It's not like they will destroy the knights, but they will actually be able to threaten them a little bit more, adding a nice and cheap auxiliary unit to your crossbows. Even if you don't upgrade to pikemen, a couple of spearmen here would be helpful at quickly getting some units out on the field that are capable of competing, or at least having a chance of killing knights. That's 1 conversion for a price of 2 monks. Wasn't ideal, and this is actually a disaster for Barles, losing 3 monks for a single conversion, and now there's quite a lot of scorpions on the field. More monks are on the field, but as I said, look at this. No archer production from Barles. What is he planning here? He's on 3 TCs and he's heavy on stone. Makes me wonder if we're going to see Plumed Archer transition eventually. That would be great. Like, Plumed Archers against Franks is actually going to be a very, very nice unit. He does lose this hill temporarily, but he's waiting with that Mangonel to unpop that. Gets it out. Fires, I think it was an uphill shot. Kills 2 Scorpions now. Let's see if he can make it free. Tries to fire again, and he's successful. And now he's using a Converted Knight to take down the Mangonel. This was an excellent fight. Bad Koala is just getting his +2 defense upgrade in here. But this was a beautiful defense here for Barles. Just what he needed, because had he lost this Siege Workshop here, he would have been in trouble, I believe, against the new Siege weapons. But now he's on 3 TCs, having a 10 Villagers lead. Eco upgrades are also slightly better for him, even though he only has Horse Color, whereas his opponent has the free Heavy Plow for the Franks. Now, Franks can still be devastating with their Knights if they have +2 defense, but the numbers aren't really amazing here for Bad Koala. He's got 5 Knights only. And as I said, that's far from ideal. So, Sanctity on the way for Barles. He's gonna be able to withstand a little bit more punishment with those monks before they do go down. Now, it might be worth pointing out that Mayans is the only Meso civilization that does not have redemption on their monks, which means that converting Mangonels is never going to be an option. You're gonna have to be using either your crossbows to snipe them down, which is risky, use converted knights, or use your own Mangonels to pick off the opponent's Mangos over here. Looking at the resources though, this is why Mayans are so powerful. Their army is very cheap, and it's not even food heavy, which means that you really are not spending food on a lot of things other than making villagers. And that means that you, even with just a few villagers on food, by few I mean 20-25, you can still progress towards Castle Age or Imperial very, very nicely. So, but that's one of the reasons why Mayans are a so strong civilization. They were a very, very nice and clean transition towards Imperial, because they're just not spending the food that they are able to gather. Nice defense over there from Barles once again. And now I think he's thinking about Imperial. He's got the gold for it. He also wants a castle. He already has the 2 buildings for imping, so he doesn't necessarily need it. But I would think that a castle, like an ideal castle spot would be this hill, but that kind of seems impossible right now, or is it? There's one knight getting converted, another knight gets converted, and now those monks have Sanctity, so as I said, it's pretty hard to kill them. And it's 9 army against 28, 83 village against 63. Barles hasn't been dominating this game, but he has been just consistently slightly better than his opponent. And that starts to show now. The 2 TCs versus the 3 TCs, and that early castle push really set Bad Koala's plans back a little bit, I believe. Dangerous moves over there from Barles, almost eating some big Mangonel shots, but manages to snipe down the Mangonels with his converted knights, and now he's got another converted knight that could once again go and try to snipe a Mangonel. Here comes the castle from Barles, so he wants that up. A Mangonel, I think that was trying to fire up hills, and it was just deleted. As another Mangonel comes out, Barles splits away nicely, and he's going to finish it off. Monks will get a hit on top of them, but it's just one monk going down. This is why you actually bring in Sanctity. It's much easier to keep monks alive against a Mangonel shot. That's probably the... Obviously, it's not the only reason why you're actually getting Sanctity, but it is definitely one of the bigger uses, or more important uses of Sanctity in these castle situations. Now you got the castle up. I think that is indeed going up, which means that we're probably gonna have Plumed Archers mixed in slowly, but I think Barles will keep adding ARPs here. And the thing is that when Barles reaches Imperial, I think Bad Koala might even tap out, because look at this sneaky range. The sneaky range from Barles, as he's going to try and push the back of the opponent's eco as well. But right now, there's 12 knights for Bad Koala against what is 3 monks, 19 crossbows heading towards this corner. Barles doesn't really have an amazing scouting either, but he sees this gold mine. In fact, he sees the surroundings of his opponent's base, and that is what matters. Now he sees the knights running past the map as well, and now they will just retreat, seeing the castle over here. 130 away from Imperial is Barles, and now Bad Koala is trying to like lower the amount of pressure over here, and lower the amount of vision that his opponent is getting over here, and this might actually lead him to the other outpost, and he might find a range because of that. But I don't think it's gonna matter that much, because this ridge is so good for Barles. He could really start making Plumed Archers if he wanted to, but I think he's just waiting until he reaches Imperial so he can start making traps immediately. But as I said, I don't see as Barles is trying to quick wall this villager in. But you already have crossbows over here. He wants to mess these up as much as possible and then unleash them on the opponent's eco. That was the original plan, although the knights could clean up the range. Once again, this is not the big deal. The big deal is the Bat Koala is not an Imperial, and his opponent is. So Barles in Imperial gets Arbalest, and now it seems like it's gonna be a single ram push, but I feel like if this push dies out, it's game over for Bat Koala. 6,000 score against 4,000 over here, and indeed Bat Koala knows. It's 2 castles on this hill with your opponent being an Imperial. This game is over. Where did it slip for Bat Koala? Honestly, it's tough to say. It's about Mayans here, really. That the unit composition that Barles is going for is just barely consuming food. It's wood and gold, cheap wood and gold units he's going for. Whereas Bat Koala had to go for a lot of expensive, like food-heavy units. Look at this. This knight alone costs a lot of food, but the fact that you have to get +1 attack, +2/+2, whereas Barles only went for Bodkin arrow, so no armor upgrades needed, for example, and that saves a lot on the cost. If you actually add up the resources spent into these upgrades and spent only on fletching Bodkin, obviously there was Stumbling as well coming in, but that's something that Barles could have skipped for an even faster Imperial, so really, Tumbling Ballistics, especially how passive Bat Koala was playing, could have been something that Barles skips if he wants to. Obviously, Barles had to mix in some monks as well, but the key here is that he wasn't really spending a lot of food, and when you're not spending food, it slowly piles up for Imperial, and that's probably the bigger bottleneck when it comes to clicking up to Imp. So you don't need that amazing food eco, you don't need 40, 50 villagers, you are pretty much fine with 20, 25, 30. One of the reasons why Mayans can be so strong. It's a little bit comparable to the Vikings, by the way, in many ways. Same thing, you're not really using your food to a lot of things, and it just piles up, and eventually you will be able to use it to click into Imperial. So, let's take a look at the draft of the players while I bring up the next game. Mayans are gone for Barles, and Franks are gone for Bat Koala. Franks was actually a very, very late pick over there, so oftentimes you see Franks even being banned because it's a very, very strong Arabian civilization. So it is somewhat surprising that he was able to take it that late, but Mayans proving to be a better Arabia civ, or at least better handled in this one here, and it looks like we're going to Bay here in game number 2. We will have Malay for Bat Koala in red, Barles will be playing Lithuanians in blue. Both of these civilizations are very, very, very common on this map. With Lithuanians, you play the fast stock strategy. With Malay, you can actually have great timings. Both of these civs are amazing on this map, probably the top 2 civilizations in my perspective. You could argue for Italians or Portuguese. Italians can actually be a very, very nice counter in certain situations to Lithuanians, but it also depends on execution. Celts have been experimented with here as well. So there's a couple of options, but I have to say that Lithuanians and Malay are definitely some of the better options. That being said, Barles is not actually going for the fast dog build over here, which I massively dislike. One of the reasons why I pick Lithuanians on this map is to go for the fast dog build, which gives you a massive eco boost. And in that case, if he's not going for that, I actually favor the Malay player, because the Malay also will have a great eco to start the game with. So I feel like both of these civilizations have the tools to beat the other, as there is the scout of his opponent, and that is going to be the dock denied. That dock is going to be delayed really heavily over here, as Barles is going to have to pull back his villager, although he also delayed the opponent's dock over here, so at the end of the day, the dock for Bat Koala still goes up a little faster as Barles goes into Feudal Age. Remember that the fact that he clicks into Feudal Age doesn't mean that he's reaching that at the same or they reach Feudal in the same order as well, though Bat Koala is very, very low on food here. So he's still like, look at this, 40 seconds behind with Malay. That's a little too much here. So it seems like this delay actually caused a lot of problems for Bat Koala, as Barles now with the Feudal Age scout tries to take this fight. And now he's gonna have to run away. Second dock just coming in here for Bat Koala. That's actually looking really bad for him right now. So the fact that his fishing eco was delayed, and I think his eco balance was also a little bit off, or the alternative is that the Lithuanian food eco is what we have seen. Nice move over there from Barles to lure that scout into the fire galley. And look at this. First fire galley only out at 65%, other one at 30%. I'm not going to say that this game is over yet, but right now, Barles has an enormous lead. So he might have already won water here, because he's gonna have a so big lead. And even if you don't completely win water, destroying the opponent's fishing eco at this early stage definitely will impact their economy, because if you take a look at Bad Koala, he's gonna have no villagers on food in a matter of moments. No wheels on food, repair villager dies as well, and that means that no villagers on food, no food income, TC idle time, and that is like a straight line into a GG type of a play. So Barles didn't go for the fast dog build of Lithuanians, but Lithuanians still give you a lot of extra food to start with, which helps at going for an earlier feudal age kick-up. Both players were delayed with their dogs, but obviously Lithuanians are impacted less by this one, because they start with the extra food. Whereas the Malay players seem to have been affected quite heavily on this, as that's double demo play from Bad Koala, so we'll see if he actually tries to snipe fishing ships here. He won't be able to do much with those, because it's 2 fishing ships and both of them are split up. In fact, we're gonna have a fire galley out here. That is a fire galley trade to demo, but that's not a good trade. That's not a good trade for Bad Koala. And now if you're Barles, you know that you're winning water, you start walling yourself. Because if you don't, your opponent is gonna start pushing you. There's the range coming in here from Bad Koala, and the range in a response from Barles for Lithuanian skirmishers. His gold and stone are on the front, so this is not ideal. But if you're Barles, you are doing exactly what he's doing right now. Make skirmishers, start walling yourself. For example, this part of the waist, you definitely want that walled off, because you don't want archers sneaking all the way around, because they could kill 2 or 3 vultures before you even notice. And at the same time, start adding fishing ships. You could probably add 2 more here if you're Barles and afford it, because 4, 5, 6 fishing ships here is going to give you a massive eco boost. You can see that this pond is completely untouched. So in the majority of the cases, because the docks are up much earlier, the ponds by like mid-late feudal age are like half empty. But because both of these docks were delayed, the pond is nearly full of fish. Look at this. Like, this is a 225 deposit. This one is 195. This one is 27 only. This one is 69. But basically, these are the only 2 deposits that actually runs out of food very soon. Whereas these 4 are completely untouched, or at least the majority of them. Here comes a demo trying to get a demo snipe in. Barles notices that, and he's going to split away with his ships. Nicely done. With a demo snipe, you at least want to kill 2 fishing ships. That's the idea. And very, very nice reactions from Barles. I think a demo being traded to 1 fishing ship is not satisfactory in this situation. It looks like Barles actually went for his own archers, but he's dragging away the ones from Bad Koala. So why does this farming eco matter? Or farming eco? You're actually seeing signs of exhaustion on me with these words. And that could be a good demo. That could be a very, very good demo. And now Barles doesn't react. This is exactly the type of demo that you want to have for yourself. So Bad Koala ends up sniping down the majority of the fishing eco from his opponent. But Barles is walled. Barles can actually add 2 more fishing ships if he wants to. Wasn't ideal for him, but he's still alright. And one thing that the fishing eco gives you as an advantage is a very, very consistent eco at the beginning. So you see that there was way less TCI all time for Barles, because, as I said, he didn't run out of food like Bad Koala did. And also, it is about, once again, just slowly stockpiling food for a click up to the next stage. Because if you slowly stockpile the food, you will just be able to beat your opponent to castle age like a considerable margin. And here come a couple of archers from Barles. They shouldn't really be doing much of a damage over here on Bad Koala's base, although we'll see what they can accomplish. Skirmishers being mixed in as well. It definitely helps Lithuanians that their skirms actually reach the opponent's base much faster, because they are faster moving. It's 1 range versus 1 range, but here's the deal. Look at the resources. Barles is clicking up to castle age here, whereas his opponent is nowhere close. Even with selling stone, it would take quite a while for Bad Koala to click up. And once Bad Koala's food eco runs out here on the berries, he's got 10 on those, he will have just 8 farms, which obviously isn't going to help you a lot. you need like 6 farms to make a TC working, so you will just be stockpiling very, very little food to go up to the next stage. We're just trying to hold this one, but I feel like the way that this is gonna go is that we'll see Knights and Forward Siege Workshop very soon from Barles, because he's on the way to Castle Age. Bad Koala tries to get a market up, just walling himself up on the right side. But as I said, he's running out of food over here on the berries. And let's see if he's actually willing to buy himself up using his stone. But even if he does that, he's gonna be, at best, even in Castle Age time compared to his opponent. But he seems to be full archers, so Lithuanian player could go for elite skirms here as well. 3 Voyagers lead only now for Barles, but obviously he's almost up to Castle Age, whereas his opponent isn't. And indeed, Bad Koala wants to go up, but he's still gonna be at least a minute or so behind. And for Barles, it looks like he's willing to continue with crossbows. There's a house foundation, so that's gonna be a Forward Siege Workshop. And it may be worth noting that this gold mine is dangerously exposed here. For Bad Koala, who hasn't sold his stone, and will click up. Eventually, that's gonna be a 1 minute difference in the favor of Barles, but that 1 minute could be very, very devastating, especially considering that this wood line is exposed, this gold mine is exposed, and we could even see a battering ram knocking down that archer range. And here comes the 4th Voyager, only 1 Voyager, there's the workshop. And I'm somewhat surprised that we don't have any additional production buildings from Barles, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna matter. Bad Koala knows exactly that his gold mine is so bad. He knows exactly that his opponent's got skirms and archers, and he is going to tap out of here. So far, Barles has a firm control over this series. I feel like this game was decided on the fact that Lithuanians were able to accommodate that delayed dock much easier than Bolame were able to. So Barles was beating Bad Koala into Feudal Age by a massive margin, and that propelled him to an ultimate victory on water. And this could have been an even more dominant lead for Barles had he not lost 2 fishing ships to that demo snipe. But still, very convincing game over here from Barles. And so far, he's looking really sharp. It's not clean, especially the previous game wasn't really clean from him. I really didn't like the game plan that he has come up with. The Drush FC with that type of map is something that I massively disliked. But his execution seems to be sharper than Bad Koala's is. As we are going to the second home map of Bad Koala over here. Already match point over here. We're just 30 minutes into the series. As we'll go to Hideout, we'll have Barles on the left side playing as Kumans in red. And left side is going to be Khmer for Bad Koala in blue. Now this is a Civ matchup that is massively favoring Bad Koala. The thing is that Khmer can actually go for a fast castle. And either, like, if the Kuman player is just doing 2 TC boom, the Khmer can go up, go for 3 TC boom with Khmer farming, and will still be able to catch up and eventually overtake Kumans in economy. Especially the Khmer fast castle, the 23 plus 0, 24 plus 0, will be able to drop at least 1, if not 2 town centers right upon reaching Castle Age, and you should really not have a massive deficit compared to Kumans in economy. Alternative is that you go for the fast castle of Khmer, and you go for a Forward Siege Workshop, and try to punish the Kuman player for booming over here. For this reason, I feel like Kumans in this Civ matchup can't actually play the standard 2 TC boom. We'll see if Barles does that, and he does, which is very, very greedy here, and I don't like it. So, I feel like here, if Bad Koala is just bringing in a Forward Siege Workshop, he could really punish the fast or the booming player. Although we have to keep in mind that this could be sort of a mild boom, something that we have seen from Vilas many times in King of Desert 3, that he's not going to go for full boom, and eventually he will start idling his TCs, so that he's not delaying his Castle Age that much. He will still have a nice eco lead, but he won't be as... we're getting a nice low Castle Age time over here for Bad Koala, and it seems like he's gonna bring in the Siege Workshops. I was right about that. And Bad Koala is doing what he has to here. Forward Stable for Knights, and Forward Siege Workshop Voyagers being pulled here to try and battle that, but this is just not a good game plan once again for Barles, and unless he's able to wall the entire thing in here, which would... wait, that won't work either completely, because the Vultures can jump into this house and still come out on the other side. No, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work for Barles, because Worst case scenario for Bad Koala is that he deletes that house. There's the workshop. This is just a bad game plan for Barles. Truth being told, it is a bad game plan. You don't do 2 TC boom. Even against other civilizations, it's somewhat predictable, but especially Khmer. Because the Khmer are just so fast into Castlage that they can punish you even more for a 2 TC boom. So this Voyager is going to be trapped in here for a while, and we're going to have Scorpions from Bad Koala. Khmer Scorpions are actually pretty decent, if you think about them, because they do have the extra range. But I think that Mangonel is still a better idea here for Bad Koala, because you want to destroy buildings. Now, as I said, one thing that Barles could do is idle his TCs quite heavily, and that's something that we have seen in King of Desert quite a lot, as I said, to try and squeeze out a slightly better Castlage time. But you see that Barles is missing a second building, that's why he had to queue up one more Voyager, and he's gonna have to drop a stable. Now, if he's able to go up, he can actually go for camels, and eventually he's still gonna have the equal, because one thing that the Khmer struggle with in this build is that if they go for this 23 or 24 plus 0 or 24 plus 1, their eco isn't going to be amazing, especially if you go for Forward Siege Workshop and Rams and Scorpions. So the eco of the Kuman player is going to be much better in this scenario. And so we're going to have one Spearman in here for Barles. This is why I think that Mangonels could actually make more sense here for Bad Koala, although Rams supported by Scorpions could also be a decent idea. You could make a case for trying to destroy that market with the Rams, because you kind of have to assume that your opponent is actually trying to go up into Castlage and maybe buy himself up. And normally, this build, like this mild Kuman boom, would continue with Voyagers being sent to Stone to drop a defensive cast and go for Kipchak, but that's not really going to happen. You can still make camels in Castlage, and I guess that is going to be the plan here for Barles, but this is definitely not looking good for him. And every time you see this Civ matchup, this is exactly what you have to think about. Kuman versus Khmer here. 2 TC boom is not something that the Kuman player can afford. It's because it can be punished very easily by the Khmer player. So now it seems like you might actually even try diving in on the town center, although I feel like you would really love to have like 2 more Scorpions to make sure that Voyagers don't kill those Rams. Here come the Knights. Voyagers will also be hugging those, and the reason why is because they just want to repair this, and indeed Voyagers pop out trying to knock them down. Spearmen pop out, that's a lot of Spearmen, I didn't see that many around, and that means the Knights could actually die to this one. The Rams being taken down here, this was the moment that Barles was waiting for. He was waiting for this one. The Castlage just finishes, the other TC one was the one that researched Castlage, so it doesn't really matter. But Rams are running out of juice here. Barles committing everything he's got to stop this one. TC is being repaired, but it is, I think, still gonna go down, because 2 Rams are still around. And indeed, the first TC goes down. Camel is on the way now, which can be a life-saving thing here for Barles, because really, in this game, what I've seen is Barles having a really bad game plan. It kind of felt like he determined that, okay, in the Arabia game, I want to go Drush FC. In this game, I want to go for a 2 TC boom. But he did that sort of independent from the Civ matchup, and he might get punished for this one over here. He didn't get punished in the Arabia game, he might actually get punished for this one over here. And the lucky thing for him is that his opponent doesn't have a single barracks or monastery. And eventually those camels will start finishing off those knights. So unless Bad Koala is able to mix in a couple of monks here, this is going to be really problematic for him. And Bad Koala has only 3 Voyagers on food, so that's far from ideal. Now, if you take a look at Barles' TC idle time, obviously that was for 2 TCs, but still 7 minutes is quite high at this stage. That is because he had to idle his TC so much to even go up to Castlage. And you see that this is exactly the way that this Kuman boom should be punished. In fact, Bad Koala is doing this one really well, as the 2 houses are going down, monastery on the way. Keep in mind that those knights will eventually die to the camel, so the only thing that Bad Koala is missing right now is monks, but he's missing them really badly, and Barles could actually clean this one up. Villager count is still that even, and both players have a really weak eco, so look at this for Bad Koala, 21 on gold, 3 on food. Barles' eco is pretty much comparable, 17 on gold, 7 on food. So really the only thing that actually gives Barles an edge here is that he has a unit composition that's capable of beating the one from Bad Koala. And I feel like whoever wins this fight over here is going to be able to win the game. Or I'm not going to say this one, but it's going to have a massive advantage in the game, whoever wins this fight. So currently it seems like Barles is able to clean up the Scorpions, he's going to be able to clean up the Knights, and if that happens, he's going to have a bunch of units that his opponent isn't able to counter right now, and the two players will have basically the same economy. Both of the players have insane amount of TC idle time, obviously, because neither of them can actually support the production of villagers on the town center, and now it seems like Barles is winning this. Really, the only thing that was missing from Koala is either a barracks for spearmen, or potentially a monastery for monks, but now it is 9 military against 0. Obviously Koala is not completely dead, but you see that his eco is like not even remotely close to anything that's operational. Whereas, as funny as it sounds like, Barles' eco is actually okay-ish. If you take a look at the resources, he can drop a TC here and reclaim his farming eco. He still has his berries working for him, his opponent does not. There is a second TC from Koala. So Koala will now try to get back into this one. Had to do some massive market usage to get to the resources he needed for the other TC. And it looks like Barles is not going to rebuild that TC, instead he's just going to go for a house. I think this wanted to be a mill, but that was a wrong hotkey. And now we'll see if Barles is just going to wall this one off, potentially try to wall in these buildings, take them down with the cavalry. And he might be the one going forward for a siege push now against his opponent. There is the second TC coming in. Barles also picking up a couple of relics here. And one thing that Barles could consider now is potentially move towards Kipchak eventually. And here come the 4 villagers. For now it's going to be a siege and camo push. Villager count is still that even between the two players. And as I said, I feel like I really don't like Barles' game plan here, and he could have been punished a lot more for this. But he has weathered the storm, and now I see a blacksmith coming in. Yeah, he lost his blacksmith, or I'm not even sure if he had one. But fun fact, a siege workshop has a prerequisite building, and that's the blacksmith. And I feel like, I don't think that he had one because he aged with the market and the stable. Which means that he never thought about getting a blacksmith, but probably wanted to make a siege workshop and realized, hey, I can't make a siege workshop, and that is because he was missing the blacksmith. So monks now coming forward. Here come the villagers. And I think that wants to be another TC over here. Indeed, that is the plan for Koala. Opens up the walls, but there is order camos on the way. Siege workshop will probably be on this hill, if you ask me, as the camos will see the town center going up. They won't be able to stop this one, so this definitely is a TC that goes up, but it will be under immediate pressure. And you have to keep in mind that Koala used up all his gold within his base. He had so many villagers on gold, and he had to use the market so much that he used up all that gold, which means, oh, Barles is doing it. This is a trick that Viper used in one of the tournaments he played. If you actually task a monk on a villager, the villager will stop doing whatever he or she was doing. If you do this, like, by clicking through all those villagers, they will all stop doing this. And that's exactly what Barles did. He actually forced away the villagers from the TC by clicking through all of them, like right-clicking all of them, starting to convert, but actually not finishing the conversions. He ends up getting one conversion in right now, and he drops the houses behind, so these guys won't be able to finish this town center anytime soon. The villagers coming in here as well, and now it's a tower. It's a tower for Barles, but it's actually a good idea, because the tower will help picking up those monks over here, as we see Barles are attacking into light cavalry. I think he sees the monasteries, right? Yeah, he sees the monasteries, so he knows that he will need light cav. And remember, right now, Koala doesn't have gold. This is all the gold that he has left in his base, and I'm not sure how much he sees from the map, but oh, that's awful for Koala. He's got no idea about the neutral gold mine positions. I think he was scouting his opponent early on, and he probably lost his scout. I think he lost his scout when he came forward, and now Barles is 17 on stone. His eco balance is all over the place as well, but it doesn't really matter as long as he's got the army numbers. And 17 on stone, now 18, and 4 villagers will mean that we're going to see a castle that likely will be constructed somewhere around over here, and that should do it. Barles, 58 is the villager count. The problem is that right now there is free army against 16, that's soon a forward castle for our Cuban player who can actually start making Kipchak. And he could even get a forward siege workshop in. That castle is going to be actually very good for Barles, because it is able to threaten the monasteries directly, which means that over time the monasteries will go down as well. There is no light cav on the field right now for Barles. He decked into light cav, but I haven't seen a single one of those, as he still keeps 14 on stone, meaning that he is gonna have a pretty formidable chance to drop another castle very soon. Monks will go down now. I think there was like 2-ish conversions, but that wasn't nearly enough for Bad Koala. It's also worth noting that Barles is collecting relics, so when your eco is this massive, free relics helps quite a lot. Batko is trying to move out here, but even has to fight against the bears first. He's probably looking for additional gold mines, and here comes the Kuman Kepdram push, something that is very, very underrated. And now there is a forward workshop, and Kepdrams will just melt buildings really fast over here, especially supported by Kipchak. And it seems like Bad Koala, who upset Dave in the previous round 3-2, will just fall to Barles relatively easily, but I think that this series was an alarm sign for Barles, who was still the clear favorite of this one. I don't know the exact seeds, but probably something like 15 against 50 or so. And the thing is that Barles is going to win 3-0 over here very, very decisively. In fact, only 40-ish minutes into this series. But I think that what Barles has to think over is his strategy choice. Maybe he will do it differently against the higher seeded opponent, I don't know. But in these games, especially the Arabia game and this Hideout game, he made decisions that could have been punished a lot easier. He just got lucky. Like, the first game, the fact that Badko lost his scout and wasn't able to find the gold mine or the berries and reacted quite late to this Drush FC was basically luck here for Barles. Here in this game, I feel like the luck was more like a bad decision from Bad Koala, that he didn't go for a monastery. I'm not sure if he was just unable to afford it or so, but eventually the only thing that saved Barles here is that he had camels and the opponent had no means of countering that. If there was 3 monks on the field for Bad Koala, I think he steamrolls this base with rams and monks. So in 2 out of the 3 games, Barles was actually very, very close to getting punished for a sort of a bad strategy decision, as at the end of the day, he soars through Bad Koala and gets into the decider series of Hidden Cup 4 qualifiers. Once again, the decider series will be played March 5th to March 7th, starting, I think, 10 a.m. Eastern, which is 15 GMT, on Twitch on Friday, and on Saturday, Sunday, it will be 9 a.m. Eastern, so it's 14 GMT or 3 p.m. Central Europe time. In case you're interested, there will be a link down below in the description to my Twitch channel if you want to watch them live, but if you just want to catch the series themselves on YouTube, I will upload those at the end of each day. So thank you for watching, and see you around.